You guys, Erin here, back with another moon update for you, although this is more than just a moon update because we have a lot going on. For starters, we are having this new moon coming up on April 30th at 1:28 p.m. Pacific time. That's a Saturday, but this is not just an average new moon. This is also a solar eclipse, a very, very powerful solar eclipse. And we're having a total of 4 eclipses this year, 2 solar eclipses and 2 total lunar eclipses. And they're very, very potent. And when I share my screen with you, I will explain to you why. But let's start out by just talking about the uplifting part of this new moon. Anytime we have a new moon, even when it is a solar eclipse, it is a time for new beginnings, and especially for this new moon because it's the North Node. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Some of you guys are going to be watching this. What the heck is she talking about? But this solar eclipse is due to the North Node conjunct the sun and the moon, and the North Node is where energy comes in. So we have this opportunity, major opportunity for new beginnings that really do have a lot to do with the sign of Taurus. Okay, and you don't just have to be a Taurus to, have this energy come in. It's really just about where the sign of Taurus comes through your natal chart. This new moon takes place at 10 degrees Taurus. If you've got anything at 10 degrees Taurus in your natal chart, or really 10 degrees Virgo or Capricorn in your natal chart, then this is going to be very, very prominent for you. But again, it's going to be prominent for all of us. Now, again, I'll explain to you why. Now, the sign of Taurus is lovely. It's ruled by Venus. Venus is the influencer of love. Venus is like the antidote for everything. She's wonderful. Sign of Taurus can be very sensual. I always mention this, how Taurus energy just gives the best hugs, especially people out there, Venus and Taurus. Love that placement. Now, it is represented by the bull. It's very stubborn energy. It doesn't really want to budge. It's the fixed earth sign, which is great because it's extremely grounded. Out of all the zodiac signs, this one tends to have the greatest, strong constitution because it's the one that's most stable and most connected to earth because it is that fixed earth sign. But there is so much going on to this. Regardless, let's go digressing here. Think about it in this way. This is a time to manifest new beginnings that have to do with that sign of Taurus, okay? This can be very much associated with your earthly, mundane responsibilities. Sign of Taurus is also very, very much associated with money and possessions, like what we materially possess and our value system. So we can set our intentions for manifesting, new material things into our life. You want to manifest more money. It really, I'm talking about as a collective here, but it very, very much depends on, again, where this sign of Taurus comes through your natal chart, which house in your natal chart is 10 degrees Taurus coming through. For some people, it could be coming through their house of career and, maybe they want to manifest more money coming through their career. For some people, it's coming through their 7th house, their house of relationships. Some people, it's coming through their house of communication. Some people, it's coming to their 2nd house, their house of money, possessions, and values. These people will have a really good opportunity to bring in quite the income this year. Not entirely necessarily true. It's, again, so much depends on all the little aspects in your own natal chart. But for the most part, this could be a really, really good time for you if you are an Aries rising, basically, if you've got Taurus in your 2nd house. But again, and that's why I really encourage you guys to get an astrology reading so you can understand this stuff. Even if you just, schedule a quick little reading to understand where any of these eclipses throughout the year are coming through your own natal chart, but especially this one. If you want to schedule a reading before this one, you better do it quick because I'm pretty much already booked up. Okay, so as a collective, this is fascinating because this sign of Taurus, again, it really does rule over money, possessions, and values. And I almost want to say, promise you that we are going into a new value system, a new banking system, maybe not right away, but over these next 10 years, I can almost guarantee it, but it's happening quickly. It's happening very quickly. And I do feel very strongly that these digital currencies, I know that they're not doing so great right at the moment, but I can almost promise you that the digital currencies are going to go up. We are leading into this time of immense change. And a lot of that has to do with our monetary system, not only because of this solar eclipse coming through the sign of Taurus, but also the United States Pluto return coming through the United States house of money, possessions, and values. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen now because there really is just so much to cover here with this solar eclipse. All right, so for starters, in case you're new to my recordings, I work with geocentric Western astrology. Now, with that said, we put Earth right here in the middle. And basically, this is kind of like a snapshot of the heavens at the time of this new moon solar eclipse. Okay, now these symbols right here are all the celestial bodies. Like here's the moon, here's the sun, here's something called Chiron, here's Jupiter, Venus, Neptune, Mars, Saturn, Pluto. Okay, and if we go in the wheel a little bit, these are the symbols for the zodiac signs that these things will be beaming through onto Earth at the time of this new moon solar eclipse. So let's start out with these guys right here. Here's the sun, here's the moon. This is what happens anytime we have a new moon. The sun and the moon are in the exact same spot in the zodiac, okay? They'll be at 10 degrees, and this right here is the symbol for the sign of Taurus. That new moon energy has to do with new beginnings. This is the moon, the mother, the sun, the father coming together to create this energetic baby, for us to make these new beginnings, this growth, okay? So how do you want to manifest growth through the sign of Taurus over these next 6 months until we have a full moon in the sign of Taurus? Now, the reason why this is kind of a trippy, like there's a trippy twist to this Taurus energy is because, like here I am talking about how it's grounded and it's fixed and it's stable and it has to do with money and possessions, values. But this guy right here, this is Uranus, okay, which creates abrupt and revolutionary changes. Uranus is this, can create quite, what's the word I'm looking for, like spasmodic energy. Uranus rules technology, rules electricity, rules over all of our little electronic devices, okay, coming through the sign of Taurus. And it's been going through Taurus, I think, since 2017. I think it's going through Taurus all the way until 2025, maybe even 2026. But regardless, it's this Uranus going through Taurus is creating these abrupt changes to our monetary system. And Taurus does not like Uranus going through it, okay? This is a very debilitated placement. Basically, it's like Taurus just wants to be grounded and stable, and Uranus is in there shaking things all around, rattling it up, and Taurus doesn't like it. But if we flow through these changes, I mean, really, Uranus's ultimate goal here is freedom. It will create riots and all kinds of crazy stuff with the ultimate goal of freedom. Okay, so there is potential here for those of us who are paying attention and kind of going with the flow of, we are entering into an entirely new paradigm right now. Okay, we're shifting ages, going from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of technology. It's ruled by Uranus. Okay, so for those of us who are kind of accepting to these changes, this could be a really beautiful thing. There's potential for people to have financial freedom with this transit. I'm not by any means talking about just with this new moon solar eclipse. I'm talking about over the next 5-10 years. If we flow with this energy, the way that we're being provided the opportunity to, there's potential, very good potential for us to have financial freedom. But the people who are holding on to the old ways and not wanting change, and trust me, I'm not out here, it sounds crazy to, even think about going into a cashless society. It's almost terrifying. But the sign of Taurus, again, that's going to have to do with agriculture. This could lead us into a barter system. But the people who are holding on to the old systems and not ready to let go of those things, that's where there's going to be struggles. And that's just how I see it. I always will say I might be wrong, but that's how I see it. And I think a lot of astrologers agree with me. Okay, so here is this Uranus, very, very close to this new moon in Taurus. So all these things come into consideration here. It's not like we're just like, ooh, yay, new beginnings with the lovely sign of Taurus, where we're grounded and stable. There's this abrupt sort of spasmodic energy coming through as well. Now, what makes the eclipse happen is this guy right here. This is the North Node, the Rahu, the dragon's head. anytime we have a solar eclipse, it means the sun and the moon are in the same spot, and either the north or the south node is very, very close to the sun and the moon, okay? And that dragon's head, it looks like it's like a shadow energy. In fact, it will swallow up the energies that it's around. It will swallow up celestial bodies in the time of the eclipse. So eclipses can be, in a sense, kind of dangerous. We don't really want to be out there exposing ourselves to the heavenly energies at the time of an eclipse. And there's very, very specific ways to go about it to enhance the situation and benefit from it. But for the most part, it can be, this is the dragon's head, okay? It's just not in our best interest as far as I'm concerned. But the dragon's head, the North Node, is where celestial energy comes in. The South Node, which is always opposite it, is where energy goes out, okay? The tail. And the reason why these nodes are such a big deal going through the sign of Taurus, the South Node's going through Scorpio. The reason why this is such a big deal is because the sign of Taurus, I didn't mention this, but it loves to consume. I mean, it can have to do with consuming as in purchasing things, but it also has this tendency for consuming food. It rules the part of the body. The sign of Taurus rules the part of the body that is right here where energy or food goes in. In fact, it's a thing, not necessarily suggesting that if you're a Taurus or if your moon is Taurus that you do emotionally eat, but it's a thing. It's very common for people with a lot of Taurus energy to reach to food, and not necessarily just emotional eating. That's usually more like moon and Taurus, but sign of Taurus happens to really like food. It's the bowl, right? Okay, so that said, the dragon's head, where energy comes in, going through the sign of Taurus, which loves things going in, it works with a lot of strength here. This is debated, but some astrologers might suggest, which I kind of agree with, that this is kind of like the North Node's home. Some astrologers would say it's exalted. This is where it works with its greatest strength. I really don't know for sure, and I don't know any way to prove it, but regardless, we do know that it works with a lot of strength. It likes to be here. Opposite that, the South Node, where energy goes out, is going through the sign of Scorpio, where Scorpio rules the part of the body where things go out. Scorpio is the sign of transformation. So the nodes, again, always being opposite each other, work with very strong flow of energy going through. When the North Node is in Taurus, the South Node is in Scorpio. And this only happens approximately every 18 and some odd months a year, 18 years and some odd months, something like that. So it's not like this is a very regular occurrence. And they're going to be going through these zodiac signs. North Node will be going through Taurus, South Node will be going through Scorpio till July of 2023. Okay, so hope that made sense. This is a very big deal. Energy coming in through that sign of Taurus. Again, lovely energy. It's beautiful. It's magnificent. But there's Uranus going, we're going to make things a little bit crazy here. This very well could enhance something over these next 6 months with the digital currencies. Very well could go up. I feel like it's going to happen around August when we have the North Node conjunct Uranus and Mars in the sign of Taurus, but we'll see about that. We'll see how it goes. Okay, now enough of that. Something else to mention here, big deal. Pluto right here is going to go into retrograde the day before this eclipse. When something is powerful, especially as powerful as Pluto, moves into retrograde, the energy can become very intense and sort of sporadic. If you think about it in the sense of like, Pluto is Hades, okay? Pluto is very, very strongly associated with Hades in Greek mythology. If you're not familiar with Hades, he's the ruler of the underworld, the netherworld. This is dark forces. But Pluto, not to make Pluto sound bad, I actually really, really have a very tight relationship with Pluto. I really actually enjoy studying about Pluto. Pluto can influence power. Very, very powerful energy can come through Pluto, depending on how we're working with Pluto, and also depending on how Pluto is placed in your natal chart, how it's aspected and that sort of thing. But Pluto really does influence these incredibly powerful, like slow, painful, powerful transformational processes that can lead into empowerment. Okay. Now, here's Pluto going very, 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 really close. I mean, really technically, in my opinion, this is already in an anaretic degree, meaning it's a danger zone. Okay. Pluto going through Capricorn. Capricorn rules the structure of our civilization, also rules over authoritarian establishments. And here it is, really like approaching this danger zone. And then boom, the day before this solar eclipse goes retrograde, even more powerful energy coming through here. And then what happens is Pluto's going to retrograde back over the spot where we had this America's Pluto return. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got a recording about that on my YouTube. You guys just go see it there if you want. America's Pluto return, which was, I believe it was 27 degrees and 33 minutes. So Pluto's going to retrograde back over that spot sometime. I can't remember when exactly. That might be in July. I think that's in July that Pluto will hit that America's Pluto return spot again, keep moving backwards, and then move forward over that same spot again, and move forward and forward and forward. And then we'll peak into the sign, get very into the danger zone next year. And then we'll peak into the sign of Aquarius, and then we'll retrograde back into Capricorn. And then eventually in 2024, finally move on into the sign of Aquarius. The reason I went into all that is because this is extremely prominent energy that is going on with Pluto right here. And Pluto also, it will reveal secrets. He will pull deep, dark secrets up and reveal them to everybody. Now, keep in mind, Pluto rules over authoritarian establishments and really the entire structure of our civilization. Pluto is also considered the destroyer. Again, he will destroy things to create this empowerment, to create a more powerful rebirth. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. Let's see here. This is also going to be Pluto making some really nice connections up here to Mercury. I'm going to talk about Mercury in a minute here because Mercury's in a really good spot for this transit. Making a harmonious connection to Mercury, which rules our communication skills, working beautifully at 0 degrees Gemini here. And also the sea. Pluto's also going to be making a sextile connection up here to Jupiter and Venus in Pisces. Okay, so that's actually like kind of an opportunistic connection going on. Pluto also rules our spiritual drive. Okay, a lot of people kind of having like a brutal spiritual awakening at this time, in part due to this Pluto getting into the anaretic degrees, but also this right here, this connection going up to Pisces energy right here. Again, it brings opportunity. Sign of Pisces is all about spirituality and mysticism. Okay. And at the time of this eclipse, we are going to have Mars, Neptune, Venus, and Jupiter all in the sign of Pisces. Okay. So Mars, I talked about this before. Mars in Pisces, I personally very much appreciate this placement. When somebody's got Mars and Pisces in their natal chart, I just love the flow of their energy. Pisces can be very flowy energy, and Mars is like how we put things into action. But overall, Mars struggles here because Mars wants to be aggressive and dominant, and Pisces just isn't that. Pisces is this very feminine and soft energy. But these guys right here, first of all, we've got Neptune, which is one of Pisces' rulers, which is one of the reasons why Pisces is so mystical and spiritual. That's Neptune's energy coming through. Neptune rules the subconscious. Then we've got Jupiter here, which Jupiter's Pisces' other ruler. Okay, and that's also has a lot to do with the spirituality. Jupiter has a lot to do with having faith. Okay, Jupiter also brings abundance and brings luck and wisdom, working beautifully. Neptune and Jupiter are stoked to be in the sign of Pisces. They are in their own castle and they know where everything is, and it's all decorated with crystals and everything mystical. Okay, Venus is here as well. Venus exalts in the sign of Pisces. What I mean is, this is where Venus works with her greatest strength. Now, keep in mind, Venus is Taurus's ruler, so her energy is strong for this eclipse. This could actually be really, really nice for some relationships out there. Again, so much of this depends on your own natal chart, but maybe there's even couples out there having their spiritual awakening together. That'd be lovely. I'm a Pisces, by the way. That's part of the reason that I just vibe with this energy very well. This is just a very, very mystical and dreamy and feminine energy. In fact, the sign of Taurus is also a feminine energy, but a lot of feminine energies going on here. But it's a softer energy. Keep that in mind. I do expect maybe some turbulence. Going back to this eclipse energy, generally speaking, things won't necessarily happen on the day of the eclipse. Not to say they can't, they certainly can, but it's usually, okay, this is in the sign of Taurus, which again is a fixed sign, which can kind of prolong the eclipse energy. If this is triggering something in your natal chart or us as a collective, it will tend to start approximately 2 weeks before, maybe even a month before the eclipse, and go on really all the way for the whole entire year in a fixed sign. But most prominent, this eclipse energy is going to be we're going to have a total lunar eclipse on May 15th. So basically April 30th to May 15th, very, very strong eclipse energy. I hope nobody out there is going to be having surgeries within that time, especially on the throat. But this energy, if there's something getting triggered in your chart, it very well could happen within a month of this eclipse or a month out from this eclipse, or even actually technically could happen 90 days after, or could happen 180 days after. And that's, please schedule a reading if you want to know further about what I'm talking about. And if you have anything near 10 degrees Taurus, if you've got anything in Taurus or Scorpio that's very prominent in your chart, please do schedule a reading. If it's not with me, then choose an astrologer of your liking, because there's a lot going on for you this year. Okay, so let's see here. I think it covered some important stuff here, but I also definitely want to talk about Mercury right here. Mercury at 0 degrees Gemini. Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. So this is another one that's, Mercury's just in his own home and he's super stoked. He knows where, and he works with a lot of strength at 0 degrees. This could, I wouldn't schedule a business meeting on the day of an eclipse, but this could overall be kind of good for people's communication skills. I feel like our intellect will probably be heightened. If you've got anything near 0 degrees Gemini, I guess it depends on what it is, but if especially if your sun is somewhere near 0 degrees Gemini, then the activity in your brain might just be firing off like crazy around this time. And then also I'm going to mention here, Saturn going through Aquarius. I've mentioned this a million times, but I love Saturn in Aquarius. He's there providing structure to the changes that we're going through. Going into this age of Aquarius, here's Saturn kind of providing some structure, making some very hard responsibilities for people, but at the same time, providing the structure we need. And here we are with this T-square going from Saturn off to the nodes, which can actually provide building blocks for moving forward from this energy. Okay, so enough said there. Now, let's see, the sign of Taurus, some stones that will go with this energy. Emerald is actually Taurus's dedicated zodiacal birthstone. I actually still don't have an emerald, but I was just realizing the other day that that's something I'm definitely manifesting in my life, because I was really looking deep into my natal chart and what kind of stones would really enhance some things for me. And an emerald is one of them, but an emerald might not be the most ideal stone for everybody. If you're super mercurial, meaning if you've got a ton of Mercury energy in your natal chart, because the emerald energy actually really belongs to Mercury, that would be too much for you. And in fact, just to be safe, I like to, and I've mentioned this a million times as well, I like to take the stones out that resonate with the energy that the new moon or the full moon is transiting through, and put them on my journal. I write in my journal. For new moons, I write what I'm trying to manifest, the new beginnings. For full moons, I write what I'm grateful for and what I'm embracing and what I'm ready to let go of. But I take those stones that resonate with that energy, like basically Taurus stones for this new moon in Taurus, and put them on my journal. And then I put that journal on a windowsill, as you know, that night, so that the new moon transits over it. Now, the stones, it's really kind of unique to everybody what stones would be good for you. That's why not wearing them on your body is probably wise, unless you really have got, you know, some professional guidance on what stones to wear, especially during an eclipse when things are super intense. But if you happen to have an emerald, sure, put that on your journal. Or if you happen to know that you know, an emerald will suit you, then that would probably be a really good stone to be wearing on your body near the time of this eclipse. But some other stones to mention here: rose quartz, all good, all reliable here. Rose quartz this one's usually pretty good for everybody. It's a soothing crystal. It's to me, it feels very Venetian. It's very, meaning Venus. It's very soft and soothing stone. It's also a little bit protective. Carnelian also really resonates with the sign of Taurus. That one's actually really good, especially considering the South Node going through Scorpio, because this one could actually kind of be good for transformation. I'll just put it that way. I could go so much deeper there, but we'll just leave it for, if you're going through a very serious transformational process, I would include some carnelian near you, maybe not necessarily on your body, but somewhere near you or near your journal, that sort of thing. Oh, one more I was going to mention here, hematite, kyanite. Kyanite, this is kind of like my stone of the year. I'm really using this stone a lot. Very, very protective stone. I really like kyanite a lot. And all these stones really, they're on the list of Taurus stones that I always provide for you guys, a big list of stones that resonate well with the sign that the moon is transiting through. Now, again, Taurus rules the throat. So this area of our body might be kind of extra sensitive at the time of this new moon. It's always a little, good idea to pay a little extra attention to that part of our body. I like to, something that's good for the throat, even just some sort of tea, or just like warm water with honey and lemon, that sort of thing would be really good for the throat. But I was also just reading about peach tree leaves. As an extract or a tea or a tincture, something like that. You might want to make sure that, you're not allergic or anything like that, but I haven't tried this yet, but I've been reading a lot about it. And it's a very wonderful Venetian, again, Venus, energy that can come from the peach tree leaves. And that can be really good. Again, this energy can just be so intense at the time of an eclipse. And these peach tree leaves can actually be very soothing for that and for the throat as well. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think I just rambled on forever for this one. But if you would like to schedule an astrology reading, please do reach out. Go to my website, wageastrology.com. You should be able to schedule straight through my website. There's a little button on the top that'll say book it, and you should be able to schedule straight through there. But if you don't see anything that is available for you in your time zone, then just go ahead and send me an email and we can, communicate that way, and we can schedule you something in, because I can be flexible with my business hours. Okay, you guys, until next time, namaste to all of you.